You don't hear cars like this anymore. You don't feel them either. Before the engine even turns over, there's a presence. Heavy, confident, unhurried. This isn't a car that rushes you. This is a car that reminds you where American roads came from. The 1970 Oldsmobile Delta 88 doesn't just sit there. It waits, like it knows something modern cars forgot. Turn the key, and the sound isn't sharp or aggressive. It's deep, smooth, almost reassuring. There's weight behind it. Real metal. Real engineering. This was built in a time when cars weren't designed by focus groups or fuel economy spreadsheets. They were designed by people who believed a car should feel like an event. The Delta 88 arrived at a turning point in American history. The highways were wide, gas was cheap, and confidence ran high. Families didn't just commute. They traveled. Long distances, long weekends, long summers. And they needed a car that could carry not just people, but presence. That's where the Delta 88 earned its reputation. This car wasn't trying to be flashy. It didn't need to be. Its size alone made a statement. Long hood, wide body, clean lines that stretched endlessly from front to rear. You didn't look at it and wonder if it was powerful. You assumed it was. Slide into the driver's seat, and everything feels deliberate. The steering wheel is large, solid in your hands. The dashboard isn't cluttered, it's confident. Big gauges, clear markings, no distractions. This car wasn't asking for your attention. It expected it. When you press the accelerator, the response isn't frantic. It's smooth, controlled, effortless. The power doesn't jump. It rolls in, like a wave you can feel before you see it. That's the magic of the Delta 88. It never feels like it's trying hard, because it doesn't have to. Under the hood, Oldsmobile gave this car exactly what it needed. Big displacement, strong torque, engines designed to cruise all day without stress. This wasn't about speed off the line. It was about owning the road mile after mile. And that's where the Delta 88 shines. On open highways, it settles in. The suspension absorbs imperfections without complaint. The cabin stays calm, quiet, composed. You're not fighting the car. You're riding with it. There's a reason people remember these cars so vividly. It's not nostalgia, it's contrast. Once you experience something built without compromise, it's hard to forget how it made you feel. In 1970, Oldsmobile was at the top of its game. This wasn't a budget brand. This was a respected name, trusted by family, professionals, and long-distance drivers alike. The Delta 88 represented success without shouting about it. The exterior design tells that story clearly. Chrome where it matters. Subtle curves instead of sharp edges. Everything flows. Nothing feels accidental. Even standing still, the car feels like it's in motion. Open the door, and the weight surprises you. This isn't thin metal. This is substance. The door closes with a sound you don't hear anymore. A deep, final click that tells you everything fits the way it should. Inside, space is everywhere. Front seat, back seat, legroom that invites conversation, not tension. This was a car built for people, not just drivers. Road trips mattered, and comfort wasn't optional. The seats don't hug you. They support you. Wide, cushioned, designed for hours, not minutes. This is a kind of interior where time slows down, where driving feels like a rhythm, not a task. The steering is light but confident. You don't wrestle the wheel, you guide it. The car responds with patience, not urgency. It trusts you, and that trust changes how you drive. What makes the Delta 88 special isn't just what it does. It's what it doesn't do. It doesn't beep at you. It doesn't warn you every second. It doesn't interfere. It lets you drive. And that freedom is rare today. This car existed before distraction became normal, before screens replaced sensation. When driving was something you felt through your hands, your seat, your ears. Every mile in a Delta 88 feels intentional. The engine note stays steady. The road stretches out ahead. There's no rush, because the car is in a hurry. You start to realize something important. This car isn't about destination. It's about distance. Oldsmobile understood that in 1970. They knew Americans weren't just going to the store. They were crossing states, visiting family, exploring highways that seemed endless, and the Delta 88 was built for that world. There's also a quiet authority to this car. It doesn't need aggressive styling to demand respect. Other drivers notice it. They move aside, not because it's loud, but because it's unmistakable. This was a car you arrived in, not pulled up in, and that presence still works today. Park a Delta 88 next to modern cars, and something interesting happens. People stop, they look, they point, not because it's flashy, but because it's honest. Honesty in design, honesty in engineering, honesty in purpose. The longer you spend with this car, the more you realize it wasn't trying to be timeless. It just was. And that's what makes it timeless now. Every detail reminds you of a different philosophy. One where durability mattered more than trends. Where comfort wasn't sacrifice for style. Where driving felt human. The Delta 88 doesn't demand excitement. It earns respect. And that's why, even decades later, it still feels relevant. Because when you strip away technology, trends, and noise, what people really want from a car hasn't changed that much. They want confidence. They want comfort. They want something that feels solid, dependable, and real. And that's exactly what the 1970 Oldsmobile Delta 88 delivers. This isn't just a car from the past. It's a reminder. A reminder of how driving used to feel. A reminder of what American engineering once prioritized. A reminder that sometimes bigger wasn't excess. It was intention. And as we go deeper into this car's story, you'll start to see why the Delta 88 wasn't just popular. It was trusted because it never pretended to be something it wasn't. The 1970 Oldsmobile Delta 88 didn't sell a dream built on promises of the future. It sold confidence rooted in the present. When someone chose this car, they weren't chasing trends. They were choosing stability, strength, and a kind of quiet assurance that followed them everywhere they went. Back then, trust in a car meant something very specific. It meant turning the key every morning without hesitation. It meant loading the trunk full of luggage and never wondering if the suspension could handle it. It meant cruising at highway speeds for hours, engine humming steadily, temperature needle barely moving, as if the car itself understood the rhythm of the road. The Delta 88 was designed for that kind of life. Not short bursts, not city-only convenience. It was designed for distance, and you can feel that in every aspect of how it moves. The longer you drive it, the better it feels. That's not an accident. That's engineering with intention. Oldsmobile engineers knew their audience well. They knew the Delta 88 would be driven by people who value reliability more than excitement. But they also understood that reliability didn't have to be boring. There's a subtle satisfaction in the way this car behaves. The way it settles into a lane. The way it holds speed without effort. The way it feels planted even when the road opens wide. There's also a sense of calm that comes from knowing the car isn't fragile. You're not constantly worried about sensors, warnings, or software glitches. You're connected directly to mechanical,